Good evening from American Airlines Center. It's Baylor and Texas in the women's Big 12 championship game here tonight, and Big 12 Commissioner Bob Bowlsby kind enough to join us. We'll talk some basketball in a minute, but we're in Dallas, Texas, so we better start with some football. The athletic directors will meet later in the week to talk about a better way to determine a Big 12 champion to avoid a fiasco like you had last year. What do you hope happens as a result of these meetings?
Well, we've talked about it a little bit already, and I suspect that in the end we will vote to use the tiebreaker to determine our champion. And in the past, we've said that philosophically we didn't want to do that. We wanted to name co-champions, and it wasn't just in football; it's in all sports. So if we make the change, it'll be for now just in the sport of football. But I think we don't want to be different in two significant ways: not having a championship game and also not finding a way to declare a champion.
Because as you've said, you're hamstrung, obviously, by not having a championship game, but you don't see that changing given the current structure of the league.
Well, we've actually proposed along with the ACC to be able to have a postseason game if we want to, even though we don't have 12 teams and two divisions. That needs to work its way through the NCAA architecture, but there's a possibility that we could do it down the road.
The men's tournament begins in Kansas City later on this week. It hasn't been in Dallas in a while. I think maybe '06 was the last year it was here. Do you think it belongs back in Dallas, at least as part of a rotation? It seems to have a very northern feel to it in Kansas City year after year.
Well, Kansas City's been a great site for us, and part of that's been the University of Kansas, and Kansas State and Iowa State have traveled well and supported the tournament well and had good teams. But it's been south, and it may come south again. We're in the process of bidding men's basketball, women's basketball, and our baseball tournament. And, it's going to be up to a vote of the athletic directors. Our staff doesn't have a whole lot to do with it. We will run a good tournament wherever we're designated to have it, and it'll just depend on the will of the athletic directors.
Again, the women's champion will be decided here tonight with Baylor and Texas. Your thoughts on the development, on the progress of the women's game here in recent years?
Well, honestly, I'm disappointed with it. I think, of course, we play at a very high level. We lead the nation in attendance. Baylor has played at a very high level. Several of our other schools are really competitive as well. But top to bottom in Division I, there are only about 25 schools that really compete at the highest levels, that get to the Elite Eight or get to the Final Four with regularity. And so the game needs to get better. And it's gotten better. At the same time, officiating hasn't quite come along as well as the game has come along. So, it's you could get a robust discussion and an argument, if you will, going on it, but it would be better for the women's game if more teams competed at a high level.
Finally, last summer you said that it pays, the cheating pays in big-time college sports. You got a lot of reaction to that. You were criticizing the way that, I guess, the NCAA, enforces its own rules. Have you seen anything in the last 6 months that's changed your mind in that regard?
Well, have you seen anything in the last 6 months that would refute what I said?
You support it. Yeah.
Well, I don't think that cheating is rampant. In fact, I think there are fewer institutions cheating today than perhaps at any time in recent past. But having said that, those that do gain an advantage, and they profit from it. Coaches profit from it. And we need to be able to get at the worst of the offenders and make sure that they're held accountable.
Bob Bowlsby, a fellow Hawkeye, good to talk to you.
Great to be with you.
The man who brought Kirk Ferentz to the University of Iowa. And for the most part, that's been a good thing. Bob, enjoy the game tonight. We appreciate it. I'm Mike Ducey, Fox 4 Sports.